The sun began its slow rise over Bikini Bottom, casting soft golden hues across the ocean floor. Light filtered gently through the water, creating dancing patterns on the sand, the coral, and the familiar wooden exterior of the Krusty Krab. The day started quietly at first, the ocean hum providing a gentle rhythm as SpongeBob stirred from his pineapple home, feeling the familiar excitement of another day at work. Walking down the familiar path to the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob noticed the subtle changes in the town. Even though the buildings remained the same, each day seemed slightly different. The arrangement of coral, the light shifting through the water, the distant sound of waves and currents, creating a melody unique to the morning. SpongeBob breathed deeply, savoring the coolness of the water and the quiet before the bustling day began. Inside the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs was already present, counting his coins with a practiced rhythm. The air smelled faintly of sea salt and sizzling patties, a comforting aroma that seemed to anchor the beginning of every day. SpongeBob waved cheerfully as he entered, his energy bright and uncontainable. Today, like every day, promised a mixture of excitement, challenges, and the subtle rhythm of routine that made life at the Krusty Krab so unique. As the morning progressed, the first customers began to arrive. A few familiar faces, like the casual diners and the regulars who always seemed to sit at the same tables, brought their own quiet energy into the restaurant. SpongeBob greeted each one with a cheerful smile and the perfect "Welcome to the Krusty Krab." His movements were precise, practiced yet full of enthusiasm, a dance of efficiency and joy that reflected his love for his work. The kitchen buzzed quietly with anticipation. Fryers heated, spatulas scraped, and the aroma of freshly made Krabby Patties spread throughout the dining area. SpongeBob prepared ingredients carefully, measuring, mixing, and assembling each patty with a precision that was both soothing and mesmerizing. Even in the midst of the busy morning, there was a rhythm to the work, a gentle ebb and flow, punctuated by the occasional clink of plates or laughter from the dining area. Throughout the morning, SpongeBob encountered the familiar small challenges that made each day unique. Occasionally, a customer would make an unusual request, or a patty might cook slightly differently than expected. Yet, with calm efficiency and his characteristic optimism, SpongeBob handled each situation effortlessly, creating an atmosphere of warmth and care. Even Squidward, grumbling behind the counter, added to the subtle energy of the day, a balance of chaos and order that somehow felt natural in this underwater world. By the time the mid-morning lull approached, the Krusty Krab hummed with a soft, steady rhythm. Customers chatted quietly, laughter occasionally breaking through the gentle flow. SpongeBob moved through the space with practiced ease, delivering orders, clearing tables, and maintaining the cheerful energy that made the Krusty Krab not just a place to eat, but a space of comfort, routine, and subtle adventure. As the first chapter of the day came to a close, SpongeBob paused for a moment to look around. The sunlight filtering through the water, the gentle hum of the restaurant, the familiar faces and sounds, it all created a sense of calm and purpose. Each day at the Krusty Krab was a story in itself, a series of small moments that combined to form a tapestry of life, friendship, and dedication. And this was only the beginning of today's adventure, a day that promised both routine and unexpected delight beneath the waves of Bikini Bottom. As the sun climbed higher, the Krusty Krab began to fill with life. The gentle hum of the ocean was now accompanied by the chatter of customers and the soft clatter of dishes. Each visitor brought their own energy into the restaurant, some calm and contemplative, others excitable and eager for their favorite Krabby Patty. SpongeBob moved between tables with a graceful precision, a dance of service and care, greeting each patron with warmth that made the restaurant feel alive. The first waves of the morning rush arrived slowly but steadily. A group of tourists from a distant reef wandered in, marveling at the unusual underwater decor, the wooden tables, and the familiar smell of sizzling patties. SpongeBob guided them to their seats, offering recommendations and sharing a gentle enthusiasm that made every order feel personal. He moved seamlessly between the kitchen and dining area, carefully assembling each patty with attention to detail and pride, ensuring that every bite would be perfect. Squidward, reluctantly manning the cash register, scowled at the noise, but could not help noticing SpongeBob's effortless flow. Each task was executed with precision. The grill spat sizzles of golden patties, the fryer hummed gently, and SpongeBob's hands moved in an almost meditative rhythm, flipping, assembling, and plating each order with care. Customers watched with quiet fascination, unaware of the subtle artistry that went into each Krabby Patty. Meanwhile, Mr. Krabs monitored the growing crowd with keen eyes. Coins jingled softly in his pockets as he calculated the day's potential earnings. Yet even he could not hide a small smile as he observed SpongeBob at work. The efficiency, the dedication, and the pure joy that radiated from his employee transformed the busy morning into a harmonious flow, a rhythm that felt both natural and reassuring. As orders multiplied, SpongeBob's movements became a symphony of coordination. Each patty, each plate, each customer interaction was a note in a melody that was at once busy and serene. Even the occasional mishap, a spilled drink or a misheard order, was handled with gentle composure, turning minor interruptions into small moments of humor or delight. It was this blend of focus, patience, and optimism that allowed the Krusty Krab to thrive amidst the gentle chaos of the morning. By mid-morning, the restaurant had reached a comfortable rhythm. Regulars occupied their usual tables, enjoying quiet conversations or reading the latest ocean news. SpongeBob recognized familiar faces, recalling their preferences and habits with an intuitive understanding. Each customer was more than just an order. They were part of the day's unfolding story, contributing to the life and energy of the restaurant in subtle, meaningful ways. Throughout this period, the Krusty Krab became more than just a place to eat. It was a space of interaction, observation, and connection. SpongeBob's enthusiasm encouraged laughter, curiosity, and calm excitement. Even the shyest customer felt noticed and cared for. The gentle rhythm of the kitchen, the soft chatter of diners, and the warm light filtering through the water created an atmosphere of quiet magic, where the ordinary act of serving food transformed into a narrative of dedication and care. As the first chapter of the morning rush came to a close, SpongeBob paused briefly at the grill, glancing around the room. The energy of the restaurant was steady. The aroma of Krabby Patties filled the air, and each customer's smile reflected the gentle harmony of the moment. Every morning at the Krusty Krab was a story, and even in the busiest hours, there was a calm beauty in the flow of work, interaction, and the shared rhythm of life beneath the waves of Bikini Bottom. As the morning unfolded, the Krusty Krab welcomed a new wave of customers, each more eccentric and intriguing than the last. SpongeBob, with his characteristic cheerfulness, moved gracefully through the restaurant, anticipating needs, noticing small gestures, and responding with warmth. Each visitor added a distinct color to the atmosphere, creating a tapestry of personalities that made the day unique. A family of seahorses wobbled in first, their tiny voices mingling with the soft hum of the restaurant. They clutched a small coral menu, and SpongeBob knelt to greet them, offering recommendations with a gentle enthusiasm that put them at ease. He guided them to their table, carefully adjusting the seating and ensuring that each seahorse was comfortable. As he prepared their orders, he moved in a quiet, rhythmic pattern, flipping patties and assembling dishes with care, the sound of sizzling adding a comforting backdrop to the gentle chatter of the dining area. Next came a flamboyant octopus, adorned with sparkling shells, who requested a Krabby Patty cooked just so. SpongeBob, ever attentive, listened closely, noting each specification with calm focus. He adjusted the grill, timed the cooking precisely, and plated the patty with meticulous attention, watching the octopus's delighted expression bloom as he set the dish before them. Even Squidward, who occasionally muttered under his breath, could not deny the satisfaction on the customer's face. It was a subtle reminder of the magic that unfolded when care met skill, even in the mundane tasks of daily work. Throughout these interactions, small challenges arose: spilled drinks, misunderstood orders, and the occasional misplaced condiment. But SpongeBob treated each with gentle composure. He approached problems not as obstacles, but as tiny puzzles to be solved with patience and creativity. Each resolved issue added to the rhythm of the day, blending seamlessly into the ongoing symphony of work, interaction, and the quiet beauty of a job done with love. The Krusty Krab, in these moments, felt alive in a way beyond its physical structure. The tables, chairs, and counters seemed to participate in the unfolding dance of activity. SpongeBob's movements harmonized with the soft clatter of dishes, the sizzling of patties, and the gentle underwater currents filtering through the windows. Every gesture, every smile, and every interaction contributed to the fluid narrative of the morning, making even ordinary tasks feel like part of a larger story of life beneath the waves. Mid-morning brought a trio of curious jellyfish enthusiasts, buzzing around the tables with playful energy. SpongeBob guided them gently, redirecting their attention to safe spaces, while still allowing them the joy of observation. He shared subtle explanations about the Krusty Krab's operations, the careful preparation of each Krabby Patty, and the harmony required to maintain a busy yet peaceful environment. The jellyfish floated gracefully, interacting with the light filtering through the water, adding their own whimsical energy to the restaurant's atmosphere. As the morning progressed, SpongeBob noticed patterns forming among the customers. Each interaction, though seemingly random, contributed to a broader rhythm. There was an ebb and flow, moments of quiet reflection interspersed with bursts of laughter and excitement. SpongeBob moved like a conductor, guiding the tempo with precision and care, ensuring that each visitor felt seen, valued, and part of the day's unfolding story. By the end of this chapter of the morning, the Krusty Krab had settled into a steady rhythm once again. SpongeBob paused briefly, leaning on the counter, observing the gentle harmony of his environment. The unusual customers, the small challenges, and the constant activity all formed a mosaic of life, curiosity, and care. Each day at the Krusty Krab was unique, yet there was a comforting consistency, a blend of routine and surprise, work and joy, that made every shift both familiar and extraordinary. As the day progressed, the soft golden light of the morning deepened into a gentle afternoon glow, signaling the approach of the lunch rush. The Krusty Krab, quiet and rhythmic just moments ago, began to fill with the anticipation of hungry patrons. SpongeBob, always eager and attentive, prepared himself for the crescendo of activity that would soon transform the restaurant into a lively symphony of movement, sound, and aroma. The first wave of lunch customers arrived steadily. Familiar faces took their usual seats, while new visitors explored the tables with curiosity, eyes wide at the sights and smells of the bustling eatery. SpongeBob moved among them with his characteristic enthusiasm, greeting each one warmly, noting their preferences and offering gentle suggestions. Every interaction, no matter how brief, carried a subtle sense of connection, a feeling that each visitor was valued and recognized in the ongoing story of the Krusty Krab. Orders multiplied quickly, and the Krusty kitchen became a center of coordinated energy. SpongeBob flipped patties with careful precision, timing each one perfectly, while the fryer hummed, and spatters of golden warmth filled the air. The clatter of utensils, the gentle sizzle of cooking, and the soft conversations of diners blended into a harmonious rhythm. Even Squidward, with his perpetual scowl, contributed to the rhythm, his movements and murmurs adding depth to the bustling soundscape. Among the lunch crowd, SpongeBob noticed subtle, curious behaviors. A family of sea turtles shared a quiet joke, their laughter bubbling like tiny currents around the table. A group of young fish watched the patties being assembled with wide, fascinated eyes, whispering observations to one another. SpongeBob paused for a moment at each table, exchanging brief smiles or words, allowing the customers to feel the gentle attention and care that framed every interaction in the restaurant. The lunch rush, though busy, moved with a certain elegance. Each task, each motion, became part of a larger rhythm where patience, precision, and mindfulness were key. SpongeBob's movements were both efficient and graceful, flipping, assembling, and serving with a calm focus that transformed routine work into a kind of underwater dance. Plates were set, orders delivered, and small moments of delight arose naturally. From a perfectly cooked patty to a customer's satisfied smile, even minor mishaps added to the charm of the day. A spilled drink was quickly attended to, a misplaced order was corrected with gentle humor, and a table needing extra attention received it with warmth and care. These small challenges, instead of causing frustration, became moments of interaction, connection, and subtle learning for SpongeBob and his patrons. Each adjustment, each act of service, contributed to the story of the restaurant, where every detail mattered and every moment held significance. By mid-afternoon, the rush began to ease. The energy of the restaurant softened into a gentle hum once more. SpongeBob, wiping his hands on his apron, took a brief moment to observe the space. Patrons chatted quietly, laughter occasionally punctuating the calm. The smell of Krabby Patties lingered in the water, a comforting reminder of the work done and the joy shared. Each visitor had left a small imprint on the day, creating a mosaic of interaction, curiosity, and gentle rhythm. As this chapter of the day came to a close, SpongeBob reflected briefly on the patterns he had witnessed, the ebb and flow of activity, the diversity of customers, and the small but meaningful challenges of the lunch shift. Each day at the Krusty Krab was unique, yet familiar. Each patty, each greeting, each interaction was part of a quiet, ongoing story, a tapestry woven with care, attention, and the gentle energy of life beneath the waves. The Krusty Krab, for all its simplicity, had become more than a restaurant. It was a stage for life, curiosity, and connection. And for SpongeBob, every moment, from the first morning light to the fading rush of lunch, was an opportunity to bring joy, care, and rhythm to his little corner of Bikini Bottom. The afternoon sun cast soft, shimmering light through the waters of Bikini Bottom, creating playful patterns on the floor of the Krusty Krab. The gentle glow mixed with the aroma of sizzling Krabby Patties, inviting a new wave of visitors who drifted in from the bustling streets. SpongeBob, ever attentive and cheerful, welcomed them with his signature smile and bright energy, ready to navigate the gentle challenges and unexpected moments this part of the day might bring. A group of adventurous young fish arrived first, curious about the inner workings of the restaurant. Their eyes sparkled with wonder as they watched SpongeBob at the grill, flipping patties with effortless precision. He noticed their fascination and slowed his movements slightly, demonstrating the care taken in every step of the cooking process. The soft hiss of the grill, the gentle clink of spatulas, and SpongeBob's calm voice explaining the process created a quiet harmony that felt almost magical to the young visitors. Shortly after, a particularly eccentric crab waddled in, decked out in colorful shells and curious accessories. He requested a Krabby Patty prepared in a very specific way, adding layers of complexity to SpongeBob's usual routine. With calm patience, SpongeBob adjusted the ingredients, checked the temperature of the grill, and meticulously assembled the order. Each movement was deliberate and precise, reflecting the quiet mastery that had been honed over countless mornings and afternoons at the Krusty Krab. The crab's satisfaction, expressed in a delighted chuckle, added a subtle warmth to the restaurant's atmosphere. Throughout the afternoon, the rhythm of the Krusty Krab shifted like gentle currents. The ebb and flow of customers created moments of calm, interspersed with brief bursts of activity. SpongeBob adapted effortlessly, moving between the kitchen, the grill, and the dining area with a fluidity that made even the busiest moments feel serene. Every plate, every patty, every interaction carried a sense of mindfulness, a quiet attention to detail that transformed ordinary work into something extraordinary in its subtlety. Squidward, reluctantly observing from behind the counter, occasionally muttered under his breath, yet even he could not deny the soft beauty of the day's rhythm. Patrons laughed quietly, shared small stories, and responded to SpongeBob's gentle enthusiasm with smiles that reflected both appreciation and the comforting stability of the restaurant. Each interaction was a small ripple in the ongoing pattern of the afternoon, contributing to the sense of life, curiosity, and quiet adventure that defined the Krusty Krab. Unexpected moments arose, of course. A small spill, a misheard order, or a misplaced condiment could have disrupted the flow, but SpongeBob handled each situation with grace and subtle humor. Even minor problems became opportunities for gentle interaction, teaching patience, understanding, and the joy of simple problem solving. In these small, almost imperceptible ways, every challenge added depth to the day's narrative, turning work into an unfolding story of care and attention. By mid-afternoon, the initial rush had eased, leaving behind a soft, steady hum of activity. SpongeBob paused briefly, glancing around the restaurant, observing the gentle interplay of light, movement, and sound. The smell of freshly cooked Krabby Patties mingled with the soft murmur of conversation, creating an atmosphere of calm delight. Even the most unusual guests, with their peculiar requests and lively energy, had blended seamlessly into the rhythm of the day, each one contributing a note to the symphony of life beneath the waves. As this chapter of the day drew to a close, SpongeBob reflected on the subtle beauty of his work. The afternoon had been filled with curiosity, small adventures, and the quiet satisfaction of tasks completed with care. Every patty prepared, every table attended, and every smile shared had reinforced the gentle magic of the Krusty Krab, a place where routine and wonder coexisted, and where the ordinary moments of work became extraordinary stories of life, dedication, and connection in the underwater world of Bikini Bottom. As the afternoon deepened, the Krusty Krab settled into a calmer rhythm. The energetic rush of earlier hours had faded into a gentle, soothing hum, like the soft sway of the ocean currents. Light filtered through the water in delicate patterns, creating shimmering reflections on the wooden floors and tables, painting the restaurant with a sense of quiet wonder. SpongeBob moved through this gentle environment with serene focus, attending to each task with care and mindfulness. A few regular patrons drifted in, their familiar presence adding comfort and stability to the atmosphere. SpongeBob recognized each face instantly, recalling their favorite orders, preferred seating, and subtle habits. There was an intimacy in these interactions, a quiet acknowledgement of routine, shared understanding, and the small pleasures that came from being seen and cared for. With each Krabby Patty served and each plate cleared, SpongeBob's calm energy seemed to ripple through the restaurant, creating a soothing environment for both customers and staff. The kitchen operated like a soft, flowing symphony. The grill hissed gently as patties cooked to perfection, the fryer bubbled quietly, and SpongeBob's spatula movements were precise and fluid. Even the smallest motions, the way he sprinkled a pinch of seasoning, adjusted a patty on the bun, or slid a plate across the counter, contributed to a rhythmic harmony that was almost meditative. Customers watched in quiet fascination, some exchanging knowing smiles at the effortless dance unfolding before them. Squidward, stationed behind the cash register, moved with slow deliberation, contributing a subtle counterpoint to SpongeBob's fluidity. His occasional sighs and muttered complaints punctuated the calm, adding texture to the atmosphere rather than disrupting it. SpongeBob, ever attentive, responded to each interaction with gentle humor or a kind word, maintaining the smooth flow of service while honoring the individuality of each coworker and customer. During this quiet period, SpongeBob noticed the small, almost invisible details that made the Krusty Krab so special. A ripple of sunlight caught on a glass of water, sending miniature rainbows across the table. A young fish carefully observed the patty being assembled, eyes wide with fascination, while an older patron hummed softly, absorbed in the peaceful ambiance. SpongeBob paused momentarily to acknowledge these moments, appreciating how such simple, unnoticed elements contributed to the rich texture of everyday life. Throughout the afternoon, subtle challenges arose, though none disrupted the calm flow. A stray napkin, a slightly askew chair, or an unusually large order required gentle adjustments, handled with SpongeBob's characteristic patience and attention. Each small task became part of a larger rhythm, seamlessly integrating into the ongoing story of the restaurant. Even minor setbacks transformed into quiet moments of engagement, connection, and observation, reminding SpongeBob and the viewers that every detail mattered in shaping the experience of life at the Krusty Krab. By mid-afternoon, the restaurant felt like a living organism, pulsing gently with energy and life. SpongeBob moved through it with ease, a conductor of this quiet symphony, ensuring that every customer felt attended to, every task completed with care, and every moment infused with subtle warmth. The aroma of Krabby Patties lingered in the water, mingling with the soft underwater currents and creating a serene, comforting environment. As this chapter of the day drew to a close, SpongeBob took a brief moment to pause near the grill, glancing around the restaurant. The sunlight danced through the water, the hum of the kitchen blended with quiet conversation, and the energy of the restaurant settled into a gentle, soothing rhythm. Each small interaction, every carefully prepared patty, and every shared smile contributed to a story of calm, curiosity, and subtle joy, a narrative woven from the quiet moments of daily life beneath the waves of Bikini Bottom. As the afternoon stretched toward the late hours, the Krusty Krab embraced a gentle transition. The sun's rays, now softer and tinged with a warm, golden hue, filtered through the water, creating a serene glow that bathed the restaurant. The bustling energy of the morning and early afternoon had faded, leaving a calm rhythm of life, movement, and quiet anticipation. SpongeBob moved through this tranquil environment with practiced ease, his focus on each task gentle, deliberate, and full of care. The first visitors of this late afternoon period arrived in small, scattered groups. A family of curious clownfish wandered in, their bright scales glimmering in the filtered sunlight. SpongeBob greeted them warmly, noting their excitement and ensuring they felt welcomed. He guided them to their table, adjusting seats and placing menus with precision, all while maintaining a soft smile that conveyed both attention and a subtle joy. The family marveled at the sights and sounds of the restaurant, their wonder adding a new layer of quiet vibrancy to the calm space. Next came a pair of older sea turtles, moving slowly, but with a composed curiosity. They observed the kitchen with fascination, watching SpongeBob flip patties, carefully assemble each Krabby Patty, and manage multiple orders with seamless skill. He explained small details in a gentle tone, the art of seasoning, the importance of timing, the subtle harmony required in the kitchen. Every word, every movement, was delivered with a calm energy that made even the simplest tasks feel meaningful and engaging. The late afternoon also brought more unusual requests, each presenting a quiet challenge. A starfish desired an extra special Krabby Patty with unique toppings arranged in a precise pattern. SpongeBob approached this task with careful concentration, treating it as a delicate puzzle. He measured, adjusted, and assembled with steady hands, ensuring each element was placed perfectly. When the dish was served, the delighted expression of the starfish reflected the satisfaction of creativity, precision, and dedication coming together in harmony. Meanwhile, Squidward observed from the register with his usual grumpiness, though even he could not suppress a subtle acknowledgement of SpongeBob's gentle rhythm. The movements, sounds, and interactions within the restaurant flowed in a soft, cohesive pattern, a quiet symphony that blended the aroma of Krabby Patties, the hum of the kitchen, and the light laughter of patrons. SpongeBob's calm attention to detail ensured that each visitor felt appreciated and included in the story of the day. In these moments, SpongeBob noticed small, enchanting details that might otherwise go unnoticed. Tiny bubbles drifted through the water, catching the light and reflecting miniature rainbows across tables. The soft clink of cutlery, the faint ripple of a passing current, and the subtle warmth of the kitchen combined into a gentle sensory tapestry. These nuances, though minor in isolation, created a serene, comforting atmosphere that enriched the experience of both patrons and staff alike. As the late afternoon progressed, the Krusty Krab became a place of quiet curiosity and gentle interaction. SpongeBob moved with soft efficiency, delivering orders, clearing tables, and attending to each visitor's needs with the same care and enthusiasm that defined every day. Each patty served, each conversation held, and each small gesture contributed to the ongoing narrative of the restaurant, a story woven from attention, patience, and the joy of simple, meaningful work. By the end of this chapter, the Krusty Krab had settled into a soft, steady rhythm. The light shimmered gently through the water, the aroma of cooking patties lingered in the air, and a calm contentment filled the space. SpongeBob paused for a moment, observing the quiet interactions, the subtle movements of patrons, and the gentle flow of the restaurant. Every small detail, every interaction, and every carefully prepared meal contributed to the tranquil harmony of the afternoon, creating a narrative of curiosity, care, and quiet joy beneath the waves of Bikini Bottom. As the sun began to descend, painting the waters of Bikini Bottom with a warm, amber glow, the Krusty Krab entered a softer, more contemplative period of the day. The lively energy of the morning and afternoon had gradually faded, leaving a gentle calm that wrapped the restaurant in a soothing atmosphere. SpongeBob moved through this serene environment with quiet precision, attending to each task with care, mindfulness, and a subtle joy that seemed to radiate throughout the space. The first visitors of the evening were a few familiar faces, regular patrons who enjoyed the tranquility of the late hours. SpongeBob greeted them warmly, remembering their usual orders, favorite seats, and subtle preferences. Each interaction was gentle, unhurried, and thoughtful, creating a sense of connection and comfort. Patrons relaxed into the ambiance, savoring the calm energy that had settled over the restaurant, appreciating both the food and the quiet charm of the evening. SpongeBob's movements in the kitchen mirrored the soft rhythm of the evening. The grill hissed gently as patties cooked, the fryer bubbled quietly, and his spatula glided smoothly across the surface, flipping, seasoning, and assembling with a deliberate grace. Each Krabby Patty became not just a meal, but a careful work of art, a subtle demonstration of skill, care, and attention to detail. The gentle sounds of cooking blended with the quiet murmur of conversation, forming a delicate harmony that filled the restaurant. Occasionally, unique guests arrived, bringing small bursts of curiosity to the calm. A curious sea snail, slowly exploring every corner, paused to watch SpongeBob work, its eyes reflecting a quiet fascination. A small group of young fish entered, whispering softly and peeking at the preparation of their orders. SpongeBob engaged them gently, explaining subtle aspects of the kitchen and demonstrating the careful steps involved in creating the perfect patty. His calm enthusiasm transformed each interaction into a small, shared moment of wonder and learning. Squidward, stationed at the register, seemed almost contemplative in the quiet of the evening. His occasional sighs and murmurs punctuated the calm atmosphere, adding a humanizing texture to the serene environment. SpongeBob acknowledged him with a friendly nod, maintaining the gentle flow of the evening without disruption. In these moments, the Krusty Krab felt like more than a restaurant. It became a sanctuary, a place where patrons and staff alike could exist in harmony, connected by routine, care, and shared experience. Even minor challenges during this period were met with calm precision. A misaligned tray, a small spill, or a particularly detailed order was handled with patience and subtle humor. SpongeBob approached each situation as an opportunity to maintain balance and ensure the continued harmony of the restaurant. These small tasks, though simple, contributed to the quiet narrative of the evening, reminding everyone present of the beauty found in attentiveness and care. By mid-evening, the Krusty Krab was enveloped in a gentle rhythm, its energy soft and steady. Light shimmered through the water in delicate patterns, casting moving mosaics across the tables and floors. The aroma of sizzling patties lingered, comforting and familiar, while the soft sound of conversation and gentle movements created a peaceful backdrop. SpongeBob moved gracefully, attending to every detail with quiet diligence, allowing each customer to feel noticed, appreciated, and part of the day's unfolding story. As this chapter drew to a close, SpongeBob paused near the grill, observing the serene environment. Patrons lingered over their meals, enjoying the calm of the evening. The restaurant, alive with subtle interactions and soft energy, seemed to breathe gently beneath the water. Each moment, from the quiet preparation of food to the gentle smiles shared with visitors, was a thread in the intricate tapestry of life at the Krusty Krab. The evening was a reminder that even in the ordinary routines of work, there existed quiet beauty, connection, and a profound sense of calm in the underwater world of Bikini Bottom. As the sun sank lower in the waters of Bikini Bottom, the Krusty Krab quieted further, the soft amber glow of the evening painting every surface with a warm, gentle light. The rhythm of the day had settled into a slow, soothing cadence. SpongeBob moved calmly through the restaurant, his tasks lighter now, allowing him small moments to pause, reflect, and appreciate the flow of life that had passed through the Krusty Krab over the course of the day. The remaining customers were few, yet each one added a layer of quiet charm to the evening. A pair of elderly fish sat at a corner table, speaking softly and savoring the final moments of their meal. SpongeBob noticed the small details, the way they leaned slightly closer to hear each other over the gentle hum of the restaurant, the contented way they picked at their Krabby Patties, and the serene smiles that accompanied every shared glance. He approached their table with gentle attentiveness, ensuring they had everything they needed, while offering a warm, friendly presence. In the kitchen, SpongeBob moved with unhurried precision. The grill hissed softly, the fryer bubbled in quiet rhythm, and each spatula movement carried the same care and attention as in the morning, but with a gentler, more reflective energy. He paused occasionally to breathe in the familiar sense of sizzling patties and fresh ingredients, appreciating the simple, quiet beauty of his work. Each Krabby Patty, each plate set, and each small interaction was a part of the ongoing story of the day, a narrative woven from patience, curiosity, and care. Squidward lingered at the register, now quieter than ever, his scowls replaced by a calm observation of the dwindling activity. SpongeBob, aware of the subtle shifts in energy, adjusted his pace, moving gently between the kitchen and tables, offering brief smiles, nods, and thoughtful attention to each remaining patron. Even the smallest gestures, the clearing of a plate, the precise placement of a napkin, the careful handling of condiments, contributed to the tranquil, almost meditative rhythm of the evening. As he moved, SpongeBob reflected on the stories of the day. Each customer had left a small imprint on the restaurant, a ripple of energy and curiosity that had blended with the work, the laughter, and the quiet moments. He remembered the young fish who watched him assemble patties with fascination, the eccentric crab with precise preferences, and the family of seahorses exploring every corner. Each encounter, no matter how brief, had contributed to the rich tapestry of life at the Krusty Krab. The gentle ebb of the evening allowed SpongeBob to notice the more subtle, enchanting details of his surroundings. Tiny particles drifted lazily through the water, catching the light and casting fleeting sparkles across the floor. The soft ripple of currents gently moved chairs and napkins, creating a delicate dance of motion and reflection. Even the faint clatter of distant utensils added texture to the quiet rhythm, a reminder that life, even in its calmest moments, was never entirely still. By the end of this chapter, the Krusty Krab had become a space of quiet reflection and gentle wonder. SpongeBob paused near the grill, glancing around at the few lingering customers, the shimmering light, and the subtle movements of the restaurant. Each small task completed, every smile shared, and every Krabby Patty served contributed to the serene, calming narrative of the day. The evening carried a sense of completion, a soft, satisfying conclusion to the hours of work, laughter, and gentle curiosity that had filled the restaurant from morning to night. In these moments of stillness, SpongeBob understood the quiet magic of his daily life. The Krusty Krab was more than a place of work. It was a living story, a space where dedication, care, and subtle wonder intertwined. Every shift, every interaction, and every gentle moment contributed to a narrative of connection, curiosity, and calm joy that lingered long after the last customer had left, floating softly in the tranquil waters of Bikini Bottom. As the last customers slowly drifted out of the Krusty Krab, the restaurant settled into a serene, almost meditative calm. The warm amber glow of the evening filtered through the water, painting gentle patterns across the tables, chairs, and floor. SpongeBob moved through the emptying space with soft steps, attending to the final chores of the day, each movement purposeful yet unhurried, a continuation of the care and mindfulness that had marked the day from the morning rush to the quiet evening. He began by clearing the remaining tables, wiping away crumbs, spills, and traces of the day's activity. Each motion was deliberate, rhythmic, and almost soothing in its simplicity. The soft clatter of dishes being collected, the gentle swish of a mop across the floor, and the quiet hum of the grill cooling created a tranquil symphony that filled the space with gentle energy. SpongeBob's focus on these ordinary tasks revealed the extraordinary nature of care, the way attentiveness and intention could transform routine work into moments of quiet beauty. As he worked, he reflected on the day's subtle stories. Each customer, each interaction, and every small challenge had left an imprint on the Krusty Krab, weaving a tapestry of curiosity, learning, and gentle connection. The family of seahorses who marveled at the decor, the eccentric crab with precise culinary demands, and the young fish quietly observing the patties being assembled, all contributed threads to the narrative of the day. In his quiet reflections, SpongeBob appreciated not just the work itself, but the lives, energies, and curiosities that had mingled within the restaurant's walls. Squidward, already half asleep behind the counter, occasionally stirred as SpongeBob moved past, offering a polite nod or a quiet word of acknowledgement. Even in his usual reserved demeanor, Squidward could not ignore the calm energy that seemed to radiate from SpongeBob, a gentle reminder that attention, care, and kindness could influence the space and those within it. The Krusty Krab, though emptying, felt alive in subtle ways. The lingering aroma of Krabby Patties, the gentle flow of water through the open windows, and the soft, almost imperceptible movement of light and shadow. During this time, SpongeBob paused occasionally to inspect the small details of the restaurant. A glimmer of sunlight caught on a plate, casting a miniature rainbow. A tiny bubble floated lazily through the air, reflecting colors that danced across the wooden floor. These small, enchanting details reminded him that even the simplest aspects of daily life carried subtle wonders waiting to be noticed by those patient enough to observe. As he completed the final chores, restocking ingredients, turning off the grill, and setting utensils in their proper places, SpongeBob allowed himself a moment of quiet reflection. The day had been filled with movement, laughter, minor challenges, and delightful curiosities. Each task had been an opportunity to engage, connect, and care, reinforcing the gentle rhythm and harmony that defined life at the Krusty Krab. Finally, with the restaurant quiet and the water outside calm and golden, SpongeBob took a moment to pause at the door, glancing out at the slowly darkening streets of Bikini Bottom. The soft evening currents carried distant sounds, occasional laughter, the gentle hum of life beneath the waves, and the serene whispers of the ocean itself. He felt a quiet satisfaction, a deep sense of calm and fulfillment in having contributed to a day filled with curiosity, kindness, and subtle joy. The Krusty Krab, in these final moments, stood as a quiet testament to the magic of routine, care, and connection. Each plate, each interaction, and each gentle gesture had woven a tapestry of life, curiosity, and calm happiness. As SpongeBob finally turned off the lights and prepared to leave, he carried with him the gentle echoes of the day, a narrative of dedication, subtle wonder, and peaceful joy beneath the waves of Bikini Bottom. As night descended upon Bikini Bottom, the soft, cool darkness enveloped the Krusty Krab. Gentle currents carried faint whispers of the ocean, blending with the distant glow of underwater lanterns and the soft luminescence of bioluminescent creatures drifting by. The restaurant, now empty, seemed to breathe with a quiet life of its own. SpongeBob lingered within, feeling the calm energy of the space and reflecting on the day that had passed. The quiet of the night allowed thoughts to wander more freely. SpongeBob recalled the morning's energetic rush, the curious families, and the eccentric visitors who had added color to the day. He remembered the laughter of children, the gentle satisfaction of patrons enjoying their meals, and even the small challenges that had required patience and adaptability. Each memory carried a warmth, a gentle satisfaction, and a subtle joy that lingered softly in his heart. He walked slowly through the empty restaurant, noticing details often overlooked during the busyness of the day. The shimmer of moonlight through the windows, the tiny movements of bubbles floating lazily across the floor, and the quiet hum of the kitchen combined to create an atmosphere of serene wonder. Every element felt alive, participating in the subtle story of the Krusty Krab, a narrative woven from care, curiosity, and mindful attention. SpongeBob paused near the grill, placing a gentle hand upon its cool surface. The heat of the day had faded, leaving only the memory of sizzling patties and the aroma that had lingered through the hours. He reflected on the patterns he had observed, the rhythm of the restaurant, the ebb and flow of customers, and the subtle ways in which each interaction had shaped the gentle energy of the day. Even minor mishaps, once resolved, now seemed like small notes in a harmonious composition of life. The empty tables, chairs, and counters seemed to hold echoes of conversations and laughter. SpongeBob imagined the stories of each patron, their quiet joys, small curiosities, and fleeting moments of wonder. In this peaceful reflection, he felt a sense of connection, not only to those who had visited the Krusty Krab, but to the broader world of Bikini Bottom. The restaurant, alive in its subtle rhythms, had become a vessel for experiences, emotions, and gentle stories, quietly shaping the day beneath the waves. Squidward, resting behind the counter, occasionally lifted his head, observing SpongeBob's movements with a hint of acknowledgement. Though silent and reserved, his presence added a delicate balance to the quiet energy, reminding SpongeBob that even in solitude, there were companions whose rhythms harmonized subtly with his own. The space felt shared, a gentle interplay of energies, habits, and mutual presence. As SpongeBob finished his final rounds, ensuring every table was clean and every utensil in place, he paused once more to breathe deeply. The faint scent of sea air, the lingering aroma of freshly prepared patties, and the subtle hum of the underwater currents created a sensory tapestry that was both calming and grounding. The day's work, complete in its gentle fulfillment, left behind a sense of quiet accomplishment and soft satisfaction. Finally, SpongeBob stood at the door of the Krusty Krab, gazing out at the tranquil streets of Bikini Bottom. Soft lights shimmered in the water, and the night moved with a slow, rhythmic grace. He felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that his dedication, care, and attention to the smallest details had shaped not just the restaurant, but the experiences and happiness of everyone who had passed through its doors. Nightfall had brought more than darkness. It had brought reflection, calm, and a sense of completion. The Krusty Krab, silent and serene, remained a place of connection, curiosity, and quiet joy. SpongeBob turned off the last lights, feeling the soft satisfaction of a day well lived, and stepped into the gentle currents of Bikini Bottom's night, carrying with him the quiet stories, subtle wonders, and peaceful rhythm of life beneath the waves. With the Krusty Krab fully closed and the doors securely shut, a tranquil stillness settled over the restaurant. The water outside shimmered softly under the faint glow of moonlight, and the quiet murmur of distant currents created a soothing background, like a gentle lullaby. SpongeBob remained inside, attending to the final post-closing tasks with calm precision, each movement deliberate, mindful, and quietly meditative. He began by inspecting the kitchen thoroughly, ensuring that every surface was clean, every utensil returned to its proper place, and every ingredient safely stored. The sizzling energy of the day had faded, leaving behind only the faint aroma of cooked patties and fresh bread. SpongeBob moved slowly and attentively, enjoying the subtle rhythm of these routine tasks. Even the simplest actions, wiping counters, arranging trays, or checking the inventory, felt meaningful, each one contributing to the continued harmony of the restaurant. As he worked, SpongeBob's thoughts drifted to the patterns of the day. He recalled the curious glances of young patrons, the quiet satisfaction of returning customers, and the occasional chaotic bursts that had brought a brief surge of excitement. Each memory, though fleeting, felt vibrant, a small story that added depth to the ongoing narrative of life at the Krusty Krab. The quiet of the post-closing hours allowed him to reflect fully, appreciating the subtleties of interactions that often went unnoticed during the busyness of the day. Moving through the dining area, SpongeBob paused to observe details that were easily overlooked when the restaurant was filled. The soft reflection of light on the polished tables, the gentle sway of chairs as the currents passed beneath them, and the occasional tiny bubble rising from a forgotten napkin or dish, all these details created a delicate living environment. SpongeBob's careful observation brought a sense of quiet wonder, reminding him that even in ordinary moments, subtle beauty could be found everywhere. Squidward, now fully reclining behind the counter, occasionally stirred as SpongeBob passed. Though unspoken, a shared understanding lingered in the air. The restaurant, though quiet, was alive in small, intricate ways. SpongeBob's care for every detail, his dedication to order and harmony, seemed to breathe life into the empty space. The post-closing hours were a time for subtle reflection, gentle observation, and the quiet satisfaction that came from knowing the Krusty Krab was prepared for the next day. SpongeBob then turned his attention to minor repairs and maintenance, ensuring that everything would function smoothly for tomorrow. He checked the lights, inspected the grill, and ensured the floors were spotless. Each movement was performed with a sense of calm purpose, blending physical effort with a meditative awareness of space and time. Even in these practical tasks, there was a quiet artistry, a rhythm that connected effort to satisfaction and care to meaning. Throughout this period, SpongeBob also allowed himself to notice the outside world. Through the open windows, the dim glow of underwater street lamps illuminated the streets of Bikini Bottom, and distant sounds of nocturnal life, a passing jellyfish, the gentle rustle of seaweed, or the faint murmur of a passing neighbor, reached the quiet restaurant. These observations added texture to the peaceful hours, a reminder of the larger world beyond the walls of the Krusty Krab and the subtle connections it shared with life outside. By the end of this chapter, the restaurant was perfectly still, orderly, and serene. SpongeBob paused for a final reflection, standing quietly in the center of the dining area. The day's work, now fully complete, had left behind a sense of calm, satisfaction, and subtle joy. Every interaction, every task, and every observation had contributed to the gentle rhythm of the Krusty Krab, creating an environment that nurtured curiosity, care, and quiet contentment. As SpongeBob finally prepared to leave, he took one last look at the restaurant, appreciating the small, unseen details that made the Krusty Krab more than just a place to eat. It was a space of stories, connection, and mindful attention, a sanctuary where the ordinary had been transformed into something quietly extraordinary. With a gentle sigh of contentment, he stepped into the soft currents of the night, carrying with him the peace, wonder, and calm energy of another day well lived beneath the waves of Bikini Bottom. With the Krusty Krab closed and quiet behind him, SpongeBob stepped into the soft, gentle currents of Bikini Bottom's night. The streets glimmered with the subtle luminescence of underwater lights, casting delicate, wavering reflections across sand and stone. The city, usually vibrant with energy and laughter, now exuded a serene stillness, inviting quiet contemplation and gentle observation. As he wandered through familiar streets, SpongeBob noticed the subtle details that the bustling day often obscured. Small schools of fish moved in slow, graceful patterns along the current, their scales shimmering faintly in the moonlight. Wisps of seaweed swayed softly, creating gentle rhythms that mirrored the ebb and flow of the ocean itself. Each sight and sound contributed to a sense of calm curiosity, drawing SpongeBob's attention to the hidden wonders of his city at night. Passing by familiar landmarks, he reflected on their stories and significance. The chum bucket, dark and silent, seemed to hold its own quiet mysteries, while the contrasting glow of the Krusty Krab across the street felt like a beacon of warmth and care. SpongeBob felt a gentle pride in his small role within the city, the subtle ways in which his dedication and attention influenced the rhythms and happiness of those around him. Even in quietness, the city offered tiny adventures. A cluster of glowing jellyfish drifted lazily through a narrow alley, their movements hypnotic and delicate. SpongeBob paused to watch them, captivated by their slow, fluid dance. Each pulse of light, each motion, carried a sense of wonder and curiosity, reminding him that even the simplest aspects of the underwater world could be enchanting when observed with patience and mindfulness. As he continued his stroll, SpongeBob encountered a few nighttime wanderers, fish returning from late shifts, a curious crab inspecting the streets, and a small school of starfish exploring the edges of the city. With soft smiles and gentle greetings, SpongeBob exchanged brief interactions, each one subtle but meaningful. These small connections added warmth to the otherwise quiet night, blending curiosity, care, and community into a peaceful tapestry. Passing through a small plaza, SpongeBob noticed the gentle shimmer of reflections on a shallow pool of water, capturing the moonlight in delicate patterns. He paused, absorbing the beauty of this fleeting scene, reflecting on the balance of chaos and calm that defined daily life. The night had a rhythm of its own, slower, softer, and reflective, offering a chance to notice details and patterns invisible during the day. With every step, SpongeBob felt a profound connection to Bikini Bottom. The city, in its calm state, seemed alive in a subtle, almost magical way. Buildings shifted shadows gently with the currents, soft lights glimmered in quiet corners, and even the distant hum of the ocean created a soothing melody. SpongeBob's presence, while small, harmonized with this rhythm, blending care, curiosity, and quiet observation into the night. By the end of his stroll, SpongeBob returned to the Krusty Krab, carrying with him the soft impressions of the city asleep. The streets, still and shimmering, had offered moments of reflection, gentle curiosity, and subtle wonder. The night had transformed ordinary spaces into quiet treasures, revealing patterns, textures, and interactions that might otherwise go unnoticed. As he stepped back inside, SpongeBob felt a serene satisfaction. The day's work, the evening's reflections, and the night's quiet exploration had formed a continuous story of care, curiosity, and gentle attention. The Krusty Krab and the city around it held these subtle narratives, invisible to most, but tangible to those who noticed. In the peaceful stillness, SpongeBob prepared to rest, carrying the quiet beauty of the night and the gentle rhythm of life beneath the waves into his dreams. Back in his small, familiar pineapple home, SpongeBob felt the soft pull of evening relaxation after a day filled with curiosity, care, and subtle wonder. The gentle currents of the ocean whispered through the windows, carrying faint scents of seaweed and salt, and the ambient glow of moonlight filtered into every corner of his cozy abode. The quiet comfort of home embraced him, inviting a pause, a slow breath, and a reflective calm. As he settled into his evening routine, SpongeBob's mind drifted over the events of the day. He recalled the laughter of young fish at the Krusty Krab, the satisfaction of preparing patties with careful attention, and the small, often unnoticed details that made each moment meaningful. Every customer, every interaction, and every gentle motion had contributed to the tapestry of the day. And now, in the serenity of his home, he appreciated the subtle threads that wove it all together. The faint sounds of the ocean outside were like a soft lullaby. SpongeBob listened to the distant murmur of currents, the occasional bubble rising lazily through the water, and the muted, rhythmic movements of night creatures in the neighborhood. Each sound added a layer of calm, a gentle heartbeat that harmonized with his own relaxed breathing. He felt a profound connection not only to his surroundings but to the quiet life of Bikini Bottom itself, a city full of stories, interactions, and quiet wonders that persisted even as most of its inhabitants rested. SpongeBob paused near a small shelf of keepsakes collected from daily life, tiny shells, colorful pebbles, and small mementos from friends and adventures. He held a miniature Krabby Patty keychain in his hand, smiling softly at the memory of a child's delighted reaction earlier in the day. Each object held a story, a subtle reminder of connection, curiosity, and gentle joy. These small reflections carried a warmth that enveloped him, allowing the mind to wander softly across the patterns of the day. He then prepared his sleeping area, tucking in the soft pillows and adjusting the gentle folds of his bedding. The act itself was soothing, deliberate, and meditative, each motion reinforcing a sense of completion and calm. SpongeBob allowed himself to feel gratitude for the day, its successes, its lessons, and the quiet, subtle moments that often went unnoticed. In this reflection, he found peace, a gentle reminder that life's beauty often resides in the ordinary, in the small gestures, and in the attentive care we give to our work and relationships. As he finally settled into bed, SpongeBob let his thoughts drift to the city outside and the gentle hum of life beneath the waves. He imagined the soft glow of the Krusty Krab, the subtle interactions of neighbors, and the quiet stories unfolding in other homes. There was a soothing rhythm in the thought that, even in rest, life continued, moving, breathing, and quietly unfolding in patterns of curiosity, care, and wonder. The soft currents outside and the comforting stillness within merged to create a cocoon of tranquility. SpongeBob felt the day's energy dissolve into a gentle calm, his mind filled with curiosity, satisfied, joy shared, and lessons learned. The gentle, repetitive patterns of ocean life and daily routines harmonized perfectly with his thoughts, carrying him effortlessly toward sleep. In these final moments before rest, SpongeBob reflected on the interconnectedness of the day, the way small actions, careful attention, and subtle observations created a rich, living narrative. Each Krabby Patty prepared, each smile exchanged, and each quiet moment had woven together into a story of calm, curiosity, and gentle joy. The rhythm of life beneath the waves, paired with the serenity of his home, created a perfect environment for reflection, meditation, and the soft descent into sleep. SpongeBob's eyes finally closed, the day gently folding into the night. In the quiet, the soft whispers of the ocean and the lingering warmth of shared experiences wrapped him in a peaceful embrace. Life, he realized, was a collection of small, meaningful moments, moments that, when observed with care and curiosity, became stories of quiet magic, connection, and tranquil joy, ready to be carried into the dreams of another day beneath the waves of Bikini Bottom. The night had deepened over Bikini Bottom, and the city below the waves rested in a tranquil embrace. Soft currents whispered gently through the streets, carrying the faint scent of seaweed and the subtle hum of nocturnal life. The Krusty Krab, now quiet and dim, stood as a silent witness to the day that had passed, a place full of stories, interactions, and moments of gentle care that had shaped the rhythm of life beneath the ocean. SpongeBob, fully at rest in his cozy pineapple home, reflected on the entire day with a calm and meditative sense of wonder. He thought of the early morning preparations, the bursts of laughter, the small challenges, and the quiet victories of service. Every Krabby Patty he had carefully crafted, every small gesture of kindness, and every interaction with friends and patrons formed a tapestry of connection and subtle joy. Even the most ordinary moments had become extraordinary through his attentive presence and gentle curiosity. Outside, the soft glow of bioluminescent plants and the faint shimmer of moonlight created a delicate, magical landscape. Tiny bubbles rose lazily through the water, reflecting fragments of light like miniature stars suspended in liquid. SpongeBob imagined each bubble as a story, a memory, or a whisper of the day's energy, floating gently through the currents, carrying calm, happiness, and curiosity to every corner of Bikini Bottom. In his reflections, he acknowledged the small lessons hidden in the routines of life. The Krusty Krab, with its ebb and flow of customers, laughter, and minor chaos, was not merely a workplace. It was a living narrative, a gentle ecosystem where effort, attention, and care intertwined. Each task completed, each smile shared, and each moment of curiosity contributed to the subtle harmony of the underwater world. SpongeBob understood that life's beauty often resides in these quiet, intricate details. Even Squidward, who had spent the day grumbling and observing from the counter, added to this quiet tapestry. His presence, though seemingly indifferent, created balance, contrast, and context. SpongeBob felt a gentle appreciation for his companion's subtle role in the rhythm of the day, the way his silent interactions and occasional acknowledgments threaded seamlessly into the broader story of the restaurant and the city itself. As SpongeBob's thoughts wandered, he considered the streets of Bikini Bottom beyond the Krusty Krab. The soft hum of life, the distant flicker of lights, and the slow movements of nighttime sea creatures reminded him that the world was alive, even in its quietest moments. Every home, every creature, and every small ripple in the water contributed to the shared story of the city, a story filled with curiosity, care, and subtle joy, all flowing gently beneath the waves. Before drifting fully into sleep, SpongeBob allowed a final moment of reflection, a gentle meditation on the intertwining threads of his day, the laughter, the challenges, the curious encounters, and the small acts of kindness had all woven together into a serene narrative of connection and wonder. He understood, with calm certainty, that even ordinary moments held magic when observed with attention, curiosity, and care. Finally, as the ocean currents carried their quiet lullaby and the night settled fully, SpongeBob closed his eyes. The Krusty Krab, the streets of Bikini Bottom, and the soft glow of the underwater world all existed in a delicate, harmonious balance. Every ripple, sound, and light contributed to a peaceful rhythm that could be felt in the heart and mind. In this serene stillness, SpongeBob rested. The day had ended, the stories had been lived, and the gentle beauty of life beneath the waves continued quietly, waiting to unfold anew with the rising sun. The city slept, the restaurant stood in calm readiness, and SpongeBob's heart carried the soft, enduring joy of a day filled with curiosity, care, and the peaceful rhythm of existence. And so the night embraced him fully, leaving the gentle echoes of the Krusty Krab, Bikini Bottom, and all its quiet wonders to lull both SpongeBob and any listening friend into a state of calm, restful serenity, ready for dreams beneath the gentle waves of the ocean.